Oh my friggin' god. Hey guys, welcome to Billbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we've been watching a trilogy, a triptych of sweaty films on the hottest day of the summer so far. We started off our series with Wong Kar-wai's Days of Being Wild and moved on to William Friedkin's 1977 film Sorcerer, and we arrive at our bitter, sweaty conclusion with Werner Herzog's Aguirre der Wrath of God. Hey, this is the landmark film by German director Werner Herzog. I was debating between this and Fitzcarraldo, and you know what? It all comes out in the wash. Both seem like sweaty movies about sweaty men journeying down a wet river, and if not a river, then both of them take place in the jungle, I think. I surprisingly, I don't know anything really about Aguirre the Wrath of God, its content, its subject. I know it stars a manic Klaus Kinski, but you know, it's Klaus Kinski. He's gonna be manic. I don't know. It's so late in the night. I'm so sweaty. Let's just get on with it. Click the like button if you enjoy these, and subscribe for more old obscure art house content. Before the sun comes up, let's sweat out the rest of our evil toxins and watch Aguirre the Wrath of God, der Zorn Gottes. The Indians invented the legend of El Dorado. The trail we blaze. That looks cool. That looks like a mild climate. Slowing things way down. Ecstasy of the Woodcarver, that was the name of the movie. I think I just don't like hypnotic movies. But now that I'm in this fugue state, I might be more amenable. My sweat level has pierced through the stratosphere. Let's see how we're doing in Aguirre. They brought some ladies along with them, but why? You can never know what a relief it is to me that this movie is apparently 94 minutes. Shocking to know that we live in an existence where Cruella is like 2 hours and 35 minutes and Aguirre the Wrath of God is 94. I can't remember if Werner Herzog was the director who had to eat his shoe. It's either Werner Herzog or Lars von Trier, or both.
Den Fluss kommt niemand lebend hinunter. Und ich sag dir, es geht doch.
I like the sound of that sound booth you guys are recording your audio in. I mean, a recurring motif in at least the Herzog films I've seen is just the unbentedness of nature, the cruelty. This is from the soundtrack of Ecstasy of the Woodcarver. What the heck? The unrelenting, unbent, unbowed, unsullied resolution of nature. And man, for all of his madness, for all of his mania, cannot match the magnitude of nature and its uncare and its unconcern. But this is like fucking with my mind that this music was used in Ecstasy of the Woodcarver. This reminds me of there was a story told, I think, by John McTiernan about his scouting for Predator and how originally he conceived of wanting to shoot it actually like deep in the dark jungle and stuff. And when they did like scouting and experimenting, they figured out very quickly that if you shoot in the actual jungle, then all you get is shots of lots of green and nothing else.
Nicht weit vom Fluss schlugen wir unser Lager auf.
So kann es nicht mehr weitergehen, Männer. Stellvertretender Kommandeur wird
Lope de Aguirre.
Ein Mann sehr wohl befähigt für diese Stellung. Seine Tochter Flores wird
Yeah, that's his daughter. Okay.
auch, weil sie eigentlich mit ihren 15 Jahren
Yeah, Aguirre doesn't seem like he's in the best state of mind. As a baseline, here in the jungle, who knows?
4 Tage später, am 4. Januar, brachen wir auf.
This is January.
Gott seinen Beistand.
Okay, we're climbing up the sweaty quotient. I'll give it to him. Very quiet movie so far. Very spare. Yeah, those rapids seem pretty strong. I can't believe they've shot in these actual conditions. Herzog films feel like not just the plot is in contention with nature itself, but the production itself. Like, these stories are written as man versus wilderness, but, you know, movies like this or Apocalypse Now, just at such odds with the conditions. Genuinely insane. Genuinely a mad person thought to capture this on film. This is like that actress in the silent film era who was shot on like a slate of ice flowing down a waterfall and almost actually falling down it. Sweat quotient rising. In these kind of conditions, it's also helpful, again, with the William Friedkin Sorcerer connection, that Herzog had a background in documentaries and in, you know, quick setups and capturing shots where he could. It's so dangerous. I can't believe this is actually they actually shot this. Oh, that sucks.
Da sind sicher noch Indianer hier in der Gegend. Ihre Seelen ruhen viel besser in geweihter Erde. Das ist das Wenigste, was wir für die armen Kerle tun können.
You guys gotta get your priorities straight. Aguirre is just like, me not so much. Oh god, he's gonna set it off to kill the commander. Perucho's in on this. He's a devious motherfucker. Oh my god. I love how slow all of this is. Just like very, very methodical and deliberate actions. Yo, Aguirre is a psycho. Competent. Efficient. But efficiency is nothing if not an indication of a psycho.
Aguirre wagt nicht, sich jemals gegen die spanische Krone zu erheben.
Wir sind hier nicht in Kastilien.
Schau, was ich für dich gefunden habe. Dieses Tierchen verschläft sein ganzes Leben.
That's a cutie. Maybe this Aguirre is not such a bad guy after all. After all, he loves animals. Could a bad guy ever handle a sloth like that?
Wozu denn das? Wir brauchen so viel Nägel, wie es geht.
Was machst du mit dem Baumstamm?
In a way, that perhaps shouldn't be surprising, but in a way, Herzog's filming style is very, very mannered.
Was geht hier vor?
If he can, like, plop his camera down, he's gonna. He still has, like, those roving, like, documentary camera work when necessary, but he's not trying to interject it into scenes that don't need it.
Erinnert ihr euch an Hernando Cortés? Aber ging einfach weiter.
And that's why we remember Cortez so fondly.
Leg ihn in Ketten.
Oh god, already. Oh Jesus. Oh god. Oh no.
Ich folge Ursur. Hinrichten. Ist noch jemand da?
No setup whatsoever. Just absolute cruelty of man. Right from the start.
Wen kümmert's, wenn wir nur näher nach El Dorado kommen?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a way to look at it. This is definitely one of those movies that's not going to be good for a reaction, maybe until the end. But you know, in the stylings of Ingmar Bergman, of Andrei Tarkovsky, when they like to have like long, uncut scenes of just like or shots of just characters contemplating and having an emotional shift, a small interior emotional shift. Not great for YouTube's copyright. How's that stayed clean this entire time?
Du bist der einzige Mensch, der uns helfen kann.
Wie ein winziges Gras.
An incredible, incredible shot with just the river coursing behind them.
Du weißt, mein Kind, war die Kirche immer auf der Seite der Stachel.
That seems hypocritical.
Wir bräuchten Männer wie dich.
He's giving a very coily performance. He's like a snake.
Du solltest drüber nachdenken, aber nicht zu lange.
What is this, like, Richard III thing that he's doing?
Ich mache den Vorschlag, Guzman zu wählen. Wer noch ist für ihn?
They are gonna die horribly. This is what being on your lunch break is like.
Wir haben entschieden, dem Treiben des Schicksals ein Ende zu setzen. Wir sind der Lauf der Geschichte. Und keine Frucht dieser Erde soll von nun an geteilt sein. Kraft der gemachten Erklärung bist du zunichte. Wir erklären an deiner Stadt den Edelmann aus der Stadt Sevilla, Don Fernando de Guzman, zum Kaiser von El Dorado. Fliehe, fliehe von hinnen, o König.
Das Glück lächelt dem Tapferen und spuckt auf den Feigen. Lasst uns unsere Bande zu Spanien zerreißen und Don Fernando de Guzman.
So this is how you lead a crowd, just by saying fucking nonsense
Was ist dein Thron schon? Ein Brett bespannt mit einem Stück.
and being confident in saying it. I'm getting chills, 2016 chills. Guzman, though, is giving me 2000 chills.
Solange ich der Kaiser bin, wird das Gesetz gewahrt.
He thinks he's actually emperor.
Perucho. In den Zeugenstand.
This is a kangaroo court. Come on. I love how they're like playing these like civil niceties out here in the jungle.
Denn meinte, die Indianer ließen sich durch ein Pferd erschrecken, aber erst recht durch einen schwarzen Mann.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Meine unerfreuliche Pflicht.
I like kind of like these hierarchies of like puppet leaders.
Zum Tod durcherhängen.
The church is being run by
Ich bestätige das Urteil. Aber da heute der
by the
Tag
nobleman. The nobleman is being run by the tyrant.
lasse ich Milde walten.
Or maybe not. Oh, how's my sweat quotient doing? Fading fast. I don't know what it is, but something about this era kind of captures the
Sahen wir ein großes Feuer.
captures like the chrysalis or the kind of transformative metaphorical shell of the transportation vehicle, a figurative journey through isolation, through loneliness, through captivity. Even vehicles in more commercial films like the Millennium Falcon and Star Wars stake a claim at independence. We have different film versions of that these days, like the car, the vehicle as like a vessel or an amniotic chamber. The best example I can think of is clearly the limo in Cosmopolis, but it is kind of interesting to see the kind of cultural values of the time take root in different kind of symbolic signifiers. I think the 70s were perhaps a time obsessed with expansion and exploration and a fascination with the unknown and the unexplored, and aspects of that are signified through the vessel, the boat, the car, the truck, as is, or the motorcycle in Easy Rider as a symbol for that journey. Similarly, the boat in Apocalypse Now.
Weg von dem Essen da! Schaut nach Indianern aus!
Sieh dir das an. Das war einer von uns. Und das da?
Himmels Willen, Kannibalen.
Die Entdeckung, dass in diesem Ort menschenfressende Wilde lebten, verstörte uns so sehr, dass wir hastig diesen entsetzlichen Platz wieder verließen.
I like how their raft is gaining. They're like accruing wealth and comfort as they go along.
20. Januar.
But it also is what's
Die
making the
Warte
raft
sind jetzt hinter
unstable.
uns.
Aguirre, ich sage dir auf den Kopf zu, dass du mit Ursula etwas vorhast. Und dafür bestraft dich Gott.
Geh mir aus dem Weg!
Fuck you, horse! God, all the actors are just like worried about this Kinski guy. They are not sweaty at all. I commend them.
Man hört ja gar nichts.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Es hat Feuer gefangen! Weg da! In Deckung! Es geht gleich in die Luft!
Schau, wie kurz der Pfeil ist.
Vergiftet.
Schieß! Mach Lärm! Schnell! Worauf sollen wir denn zielen? Du sollst schießen, du Arschloch!
This is American international policy.
Feuer!
Komm, spiel etwas für die Männer.
My boy is fearing for his life. Oh, God.
Hat überhaupt verstanden, dass in diesem Buch das Wort Gottes sind?
Why would he understand that?
Nimm es in die Hand, mein Sohn.
Friggin' Europeans.
Er sagt, es spricht ja nicht.
Es ist ein hartes Geschäft.
He killed him.
Diese Wilden sind schwer zu bekehren.
God. Such brutish assholes in this movie.
Es dauert nicht mehr lange. El Dorado liegt vielleicht nur ein paar Tage entfernt.
Vielleicht. That'd be funny if they actually did discover El Dorado, but, you know, they have no means to transport the gold because it's too heavy for their raft.
Vergessen wir niemals den wichtigsten Teil unserer Mission.
To spread the word of God.
Das Wort Gottes den Wilden.
Jesus. They're all so delusional. Intense 2016 vibes from this movie. Any year, really, but just like specifically this theme of people dancing at the prospect of gold while slowly drowning to death. Just the incandescent idiocy on display in this film. Oh.
Wie? Okello, da ist kein Salz dran.
Yeah, you might want to slow down, my dude. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. These are our policymakers. We're all gonna die. This is the crisis that we are living in.
Verdammt, schafft mir den Gaul vom Hals. Weg mit dem Vieh.
Oh my fucking God.
Ich glaube, er ist ein toter Mann. Anblick eines einzigen Pferdes fliehen sehen. Und außerdem hätten wir eine Woche an dem Pferd.
I like how, like, cowardly and awful the priest is portrayed. I was kind of worried that he'd be set up as, like, this, like, austere monk preserving the last semblance of hope or divinity and or faith in the church, but he's just, like, as grubby and awful as all the rest of the men. I mean, he explains it in his admission to the lady that the church has always served the strongest. The two faces of Donald Trump.
Oh mein Gott, der Kaiser. Der Kaiser ist tot.
I'm surprised they've allowed Ursula to continue on living this entire time. And as soon as I say that, there you go. Oh, awful, awful, awful.
Wind mir davon.
I mean, like, genuinely disturbing watching him recite like a nursery rhyme while watching a man hang to death. What did they do with the woman? The woman from the canoe.
Was schreien die denn dort?
Die schreien Fleisch, Fleisch, Fleisch kommt vorbeigeschwommen.
That was a subtle change on the part of Kinski. I liked that. Why did they choose to land?
Schießt weiter, dann erschrecken sie sich.
Just fucking pigs.
Ich habe schon einen Monat kein Salz mehr gehabt.
I mean, I guess they gotta keep their electrolytes up and whatever, but you know that Herzog isn't necessarily thinking that. Oh, odd. She's just gonna walk into the wilderness like The Road. Another movie that I watched recently.
Der Mann ist einen Kopf größer als ich.
Take off his head so we're the same height. Yeah. Oh, yeah, one beautiful effect.
Es darf keinen größeren geben. Wer auch nur wagt, ans Davonlaufen zu denken, wird in 198 Teile zerstückelt. Und auf ihn wird dann so lange herumgetrampelt, bis man die Wände mit ihm streichen kann.
This was our presidency for 4 years.
Aguirre will, dass die Vögel tot von den Bäumen fallen. Dann fallen die Vögel tot.
It really, really is.
Ich bin der Zorn Gottes. Wer aber mir und dem Fluss folgt, wird unerhört.
It's interesting. I was actually under the impression entering into this movie that this would be a movie about megalomania, and watching it in all of its like largesse and glory. If anything, I actually don't feel... I mean, maybe it's just because I had some presumptions or foreknowledge of the piece, but I actually don't feel the greatness of Aguirre's psychopathy. It actually seems like manifested in reasonable proportion to the madness that is afflicting everybody else. Like, it is making him like an imposing and charismatic leader to a certain degree, but from my viewing, all of them are captives in this careening path towards their own destruction. Like Aguirre is definitely trying to exert control, and he's keeping this ship floating towards its imminent destruction, but that's like the only power he can exert. He has no control over whether or not they'll be destroyed, just that they'll keep to the direction of their destruction.
Die langen Pfeile kommen in Mode.
1. Februar.
Wenn wir jetzt umkehren, werden andere kommen. Und sie werden es schaffen. Auch wenn dies Land nur aus Bäumen und Wasser besteht. Wir werden es erobern. Es ist Macht und Ruhm.
Ich bin sicher, Aguirre führt uns ins Verderben. Ich habe fast den Eindruck, er tut es mit Vorbedacht. Kaum einer kann sich mehr auf den Beinen halten. Der Soldat Justo González hat meine Tinte getrunken, weil er meinte, es sei Medizin.
This is where the commander-in-chief connection becomes most fraught.
Ich sehe ein Schiff mit Segeln in einem hohen Bau.
Das Schiff ist nur deine Einbildung. Wir haben alle das Fieber. Ich habe gehört, dass Menschen passiert, die zu sehr überanstrengt waren.
Halt's Maul, Mönch. Das Schiff holen wir uns. Es ist echt. Wir segeln damit zum Atlantik.
Das ist kein Schiff. Es ist kein Wald. Das ist kein Pfeil.
Jesus.
Wir bilden uns die Pfeile nur ein, weil wir Angst
Oh my god, this movie. Oh god.
Dieser Pfeil kann mir nichts anhaben. Das ist kein Regen.
Ich vergiss nicht zu beten, es könnte sonst mit Gott ein böses Ende nehmen. Werden wir ein größeres Schiff bauen und damit nach Norden segeln.
We'll build a bigger ship out of our ship and turn that ship into a bigger ship.
Von da aus werden wir weiter segeln und Cortés Mexiko wegnehmen. Ich, der Zorn Gottes, werde meine eigene Tochter heiraten.
Oh.
Und mit ihr die reinste Dynastie gründen. Wir halten durch. Wer sonst ist mit mir?
Oh. Oh. Man, that infestation of monkeys. Just... yeah. Almost kind of like a fabulistic quality to it. You can imagine the men transformed into monkeys, or that the monkeys are just like these mites that can't be cleared. That Aguirre is just running this constant task of trying to clear them out, and they'll never be dispersed. Ooh. Okay, well, that was Aguirre, the Wrath of God. My sweat factor has mostly diminished. It is morning. You can hear... well, maybe I'll cut it out, but you can hear birds in the background. That was a very hypnotic, non-verbal experience. I wouldn't really be able to say anything. I don't know if I can really say anything that would sum up the experience of the film. It is an interesting kind of like parallel. Also, an interesting kind of parallel film to Apocalypse Now, like Sorcerer, but much different. I would say if I were to quantify the difference, it's just like a difference in the styles of the directors. I tend to think of Francis Ford Coppola as like a very kind of melodramatic, kind of like symbolist director. He likes having like a lot of elements in his films and kind of like combine them all together to create a great consuming work. I mean, part of the influence you can feel in Apocalypse Now is in the soundtrack. He has Wagner in there, and the kind of prevalence of the artistic approach of the Gesamtkunstwerk. Yeah, the Gesamtkunstwerk, like penetrates a lot of Coppola's films, and very differently. I think Herzog is about stripping back everything, removing artifice, removing feeling, removing sensation, or he has a very kind of hypnotic approach. If I had to like qualify what I feel like, what I feel like I would describe Herzog's approach in filmmaking is, from the few films of his that I've seen, it's kind of like stare at something long enough and it will reveal itself to you. So I don't think that Aguirre is not as complex, as multifaceted as, in some ways it's not as nuanced or complex as Apocalypse Now, but it is very, 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 very stripped down and laconic, and doesn't present you with like a total film experience, a total film as an experience. It is a film that you claw yourself into, that you get sucked into, and like can't escape from its vortex. Yeah, it's morning. I'm depleted. This has been a trilogy of sweat. I'm actually kind of sad. Aguirre, The Wrath of God has a lot of things going for it. It's not a very sweaty film at all. I guess I should have done Fitzcarraldo. I'll know that for next time, I suppose. It was interesting to watch all three of these in succession. My preference definitely goes to Days of Being Wild, but that's just me liking the director and his style specifically. It was very, very interesting watching Sorcerer and Aguirre in succession. I didn't really kind of realize how many thematic, stylistic, and geographical connections it would have. It was definitely a good point of comparison, and more rewarding than if I had watched maybe either individually. Definitely more rewarding than watching Sorcerer on its own. It was really, really interesting to have it curated alongside a strange companion piece, a brother film in some ways. I really, really wish I had seen this before I had seen Ecstasy of the Woodcarver. That musical cue that's used in that film, I have such an imprint of it, of Steiner, doing his long jump, and so to hear it used in Aguirre, it's like a weird kind of need to reframe it, kind of in the same way that the musical cue in Sorcerer that was used in the Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah, that was my trilogy of sweat. Please bid me farewell. I must rest. I must. And gentlemen, to bed. Gentlemen, to bed. For tomorrow we march at dawn. If you enjoy this, click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And until next time, keep watching good movies. I didn't end up sweating that much, actually. Nowhere near the amount I sweat during Solaris. So, thank you, weather. Or thank you, endocrine system. And good night! Hi. So, I've started a Patreon. Check it out for more updates, exclusive content, and even more old, obscure, and art house films, such as the following.
Dream a little dream of me.
If you're interested in any of that, or if you simply wish to support the work that I do, consider joining. Thank you. Goodbye.